Real Nerds is a proud partner of the Denver Podcast Network. In the shadow of the mountains,
we speak.
Hello, everybody. I'm JD Lopez, the host of Left Hand Right Brain. It's a free-flowing, wide-ranging conversation that I have with artists doing interesting and creative things here in Denver and beyond. We talk about their personal stories, break down their creative process, and what motivates them. Spoiler alert, it's mostly spite. We talk about all these things and more while kicking back, cracking wise, and always having a good time. You can find old episodes and everything you need to know at lefthandrightbrainpod.com.
Oh, hi, podcast listeners. There's many ways you can listen to the Real Nerds podcast. You can subscribe on iTunes. You can also subscribe on Stitcher Radio. You want to send us a Twitter message? You can do that. It's so easy, at Real Nerds. Like us on Facebook, Real Nerds Podcast. You can visit our website, realnerdspodcast.com, where there'll be a lot of articles for you to not only read, but to listen to our previous shows. You can also call us, 720-6nerds5. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show.
I'm Andre Gower.
And I'm Ryan Lambert.
And you're listening to
Real Nerds Podcast.
Welcome to Real Nerds Podcast, unofficially the official podcast of Denver Pop Culture Con. I am Ryan, and only one other person is with me today.
Zach.
That's all right. The Golden Cinema lovers. It's going to be a great episode for everybody.
Does anybody here remember Al Jolson?
Yeah.
Oh, what about Georgie Jessel? These are names.
Do you remember that rapscallion Buster Keaton?
Charles Chaplin. The guy who looked like Hitler, but wasn't Hitler, but played Hitler in The Great Dictator.
I think that's too pre-Golden Age. When is the actual Golden Age of Hollywood? Is it 1930s to 40s?
I think it's the mid-20s.
Is it considered the mid-20s?
Yeah, well, I think it might even be further back because the formation, like the reason everyone exodus to Hollywood is because Thomas Edison, a notable historical prick, tried to monopolize the film industry by creating the Edison Trust, which was essentially designed to make sure that only he had access to the films that were showing in theaters at the time, so like the one-reelers and stuff.
But is that considered a golden age of Hollywood?
No. So what happens is they all move to Hollywood. So Universal, like Carl Laemmle gets there first to Universal, and then all the people start following afterwards. Warner Brothers, MGM, all that stuff. So I'd say like around the it's definitely after World War II, like the early 1920s up to the mid 1960s. That's when the period is in full effect because that's when the star system is really churning out the classics that we know today. Yeah. But like, it's hard to necessarily pinpoint. I think the golden age like that we fondly remember kicks off in the mid 30s.
Yeah.
Because like in 4 years after that point, but then by that point we get like, because 1939 is the gold standard for.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
like that's the year you have like a ton of classics. Like there's a I'm not one to bring up the Gone with the Wind Blu-ray, but if you, I do own it, and there is a special feature.
It's awesome.
Yeah, well, it's honestly it's the special features trove you want. The problem is I don't want to rewatch that movie all the time.
It's a great movie. It's definitely one that you have to sit down because what's the runtime? 4 hours?
It's 4 hours, and it's one of those things. Like I think I've talked about it in the past where I'm just like Gone with the Wind. Like it's technically beautiful, the acting's fine. But that story is melodramatic garbage. I don't like it. But on that Blu-ray,
play with your trucks, or I'll give you my phone. You can watch something.
Let him watch Gone with the Wind. We'll be here for 4 hours.
Yeah, you want to watch Gone with the Wind?
Frankly, Dad, I don't give a damn.
I watch Gone with the Wind.
You want to watch Gone with the Wind? All right. I got the Blu-ray. I don't have the super deluxe edition.
That's the one I have.
But I have. It's super nice. It's like a magnetized foldy book.
Oh, you got the one from Target.
Okay, is that exclusive to Target?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know I bought it at Target, but it's like super nice. It's magnetic.
Mm-hmm. And so it's like a snap case, like magnetic snap.
Yeah, but like there's no snap. It's like perfectly folds in half. It's
Right.
really, it's super nice.
I've only seen a few ones that look like that, but the one I have, which is just in a standard blue jewel case, has a documentary on it called 1939, the year Hollywood remembered, or something like that. And it goes through not just Gone with the Wind, but also like Stagecoach, Son of Frankenstein. You have the first Sherlock Holmes movie, Hound of the Baskervilles, or
Gunga Din.
Gunga Din is mentioned in there, and you also have one of my favorites was Ninotchka, which is Marlene Dietrich. I believe it's Marlene Dietrich. Oh God, it's been years since I've seen Ninotchka. But anyway, 1939, a great year for cinema.
Oh yeah, no, it's great.
But we're not here to talk about the year of 1939 for the whole podcast, are we?
No,
What
no.
else do we do?
We also, I went and saw a new movie. I actually saw it last week. I got sick. It's weird. So our movie of the week is Happy Death Day 2. Stay tuned. We'll review the movie, and then I don't know if I should spoil it because I know you want to see it. But I'll tell you if you should see it or not, and I'll give a general overview of it. I was supposed to see. Well, I was seeing that in Alita last week, and I was like in the theater, and all of a sudden I just felt like weird. Not like super sick, but like just something wasn't right.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm just sitting in the theater, and I'm drinking my $7 Dasani fizzy water, and I'm sitting there.
Way to name drop.
Yeah, right. And I'm like, man, I just don't feel right.
Yeah.
And so I was seeing Alita maybe like 45 minutes after Happy Death Day to You. And I got up and I was like, man, I just go home. Like I started to feel like woozy and like nauseous.
Right.
And then I went home. I went to bed. I woke up like at 5 and I like threw up all day long. And I think I got like food poisoning.
Yeah.
Because like I didn't feel like sick.
Uh-huh.
I just felt weird.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell did I eat? I couldn't even remember like what would trigger it, to tell you the truth.
Have you listened to last week's show yet?
No.
We tried to, we kept saying like, no, he's investigating a mystery in Idaho Springs.
Yes.
The mystery of why he's vomiting.
Yes. But now my wife is like way sicker than I ever was. So
bug spreading.
my wife deals with, she's a nurse, so I don't know.
Yeah. But
I don't know what she has, but she called in. I'm not going to say where my wife works, but she called in yesterday, and today she still doesn't feel well. And I said, why don't you just call in again? And she said she'll get in trouble for calling in because she's sick. And I tried to tell her. So many years ago, before in the career I am in now, I was a restaurant manager for 10 years. So I've been to lots of training for management. You cannot be punished for being sick.
right.
And I was trying to tell her that, and she said, no, they're going to give me an occurrence. And you can only have so many occurrences, and you come to a different level. I'm like, you can't be punished for being sick.
Right.
That's against the law.
Yeah. Even if they were to write you up in something, you can contest that.
Oh, yeah.
Or whatever.
Oh, yeah, I
Like,
would-
There's,
I know. I was trying to tell her, but she didn't want to hear it. So
it's the generalized fear. Like, I
I know,
work.
and that's how shitty it is.
I've never really said the store that I work at, but like, it's like any other business. Like they have those kind of occurrence things too. But we've never had an issue with that. So
Yeah, but just so you know, you can't. That's just like if you called in, your manager can't ask you, "What are you sick with?"
no.
That's against the law too.
No, they just say like, okay, get better, go home. Or
Yeah,
go eat some soup or
and-
whatever. You should see this right now. Kellen is hugging Ryan, and it's like a tender father-son sitcom moment. I'm just waiting for a pie to hit my face so
Yeah.
that it's complete, and then it'll say executive producer Norman Lear.
Yes. But we also
I have
talk about
classy.
movies that are coming out on Blu-ray, movie news, and movies we've been watching throughout the week, or in my case, I guess a week and a half. So I guess we'll start with movie news.
It's real news.
All right.
I'm playing a lot of Tomb Raider too.
The new one? Like,
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's kind of new. So games tend to drop all at once.
yeah.
So it came out, I think, a week after Spider-Man.
Uh-huh.
So I played Spider-Man continuously, and then I was just dabbling in Tomb Raider.
Right.
But Kellen really likes watching Tomb Raider.
Really?
Because, it's adventure and action. And
It's got a nice jungle atmosphere, and
yeah.
I'm sure it looks great on that 4K.
Oh, no, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's this badass part where, like, Laura thinks her friend has been killed, and she falls into, like, this lake, and she comes up, and it's shot really badass. So you got to picture her slowly rising up out of the water, and it's lit by like fire and stuff behind her, and then she picks up a gun and just starts wasting people. It's pretty awesome.
I can't remember because it's been almost a year since we saw Tomb Raider, but were there shots like that where like just like badass lit by the fire?
Yeah, so
like
Tomb Raider is based on the new set of games that came out.
Right.
And so yeah, it has that same aesthetic to it.
Nice. Well, I'll have to rewatch it. I remember being very tepid in my review. I think it's.
I like it.
Yeah, I know. I didn't hate it. I think it was. It made me wish that I had seen other films in the drive-in though, because that was the only drive-in movie I saw last year. Which I was like, is this the only one? Shit. Well, anyway, in the news, we have a couple deaths to get out of the way. This wasn't reported by us last week, but Bruno Ganz passed away at the age of 77. Bruno Ganz was in a lot of movies like Wings of Desire and stuff like that, but he's best known by internet standards for being Adolf Hitler in the movie Downfall, which is now the source of numerous and very hilarious internet videos, but if you've seen the movie Downfall, he's amazing in the movie. It's I remember when I watched it, and I think the only reason I found out about it was because of Smodcast in some capacity.
Yeah.
But like I remember watching it, and it was like it's an incredibly shot and well acted film, and Bruno Ganz was phenomenal in it. But yeah, great actor to work with. Like I said, Werner Herzog, Wim Wenders, and Coppola. He will be missed. Today, though, off the presses, Stanley Donen passed away at the age of 94. Stanley Donen, best known as the director of Singin' in the Rain and Charade, CoverGirl, Best Foot Forward. This guy is a legend. Is in the golden age that we're obsessed with.
I mean, Singin' in the Rain is maybe the greatest musical of all time,
if not at least in the top 10, or even I would say the top 3.
Yeah,
in terms of movie musicals.
And then I mean, Charade is.
Charade's amazing.
Charade.
His commentary on the Criterion is pretty astounding.
Oh no, it's great because it's the only extra on the Criterion, which is really bizarre.
But it's still
pretty solid.
It's more than enough to utilize in that. But like, and he worked with like I said, Gene Kelly a lot. On the Town is the one he worked on with.
I heard Gene Kelly on sets was an asshole.
He was a demanding perfectionist. I have a documentary if you want to borrow it about him. It's just a 90-minute documentary that TCM put out.
Yeah, for sure.
It's on its own disc. I found it at work, and I was like, oh, yeah, I want to know more about the art of American dance, because that was his whole thing, was he was trying to – every country had their own style of dance, and America didn't have a traditional set standard of dance, and that's basically what he created through those films.
Yeah, I heard he made co-stars in Singin' in the Rain's Life's Horrible.
That would not surprise me at all.
That's reading stuff after the fact on IMDb pages.
Yeah, but yeah. Also, he did Bedazzled with Dudley Moore, which
remade by Elizabeth Hurley.
Yeah, that's one of those weird things. Like, I like Dudley Moore a lot. I don't think I like the concept either way. So,
no, but I mean,
it's fine.
He made a great lot of special movies.
Yeah, 94, like, again, another golden age guy gone. Made some wonderful films that we cherish to this day. We got a couple of trailers. We got one for Dragged Across Concrete, which is Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn teaming up with the guy who directed Bone Tomahawk and
I love Bone Tomahawk.
Brawl and Cell Block 99, which
that one's all right.
I have not seen either of them yet.
Remind me, send me a text and I'll bring you back Black Klansman and I'll let you borrow those two.
Yeah, because
I like Bone Tomahawk more.
I hear they're very grindhousey affairs. Like they're very
Cell Block takes a little bit to get going. Bone Tomahawk is a western that's a hybrid horror film and it's really good.
Nice, perfect. I cannot wait to see that. We also got a trailer for a movie that I've been following for a while, and I'm sure others on the podcast have too. It's called Pennywise: The Story of It, which is a behind-the-scenes documentary about the making of the miniseries, which you've been vocal in your distaste for it or dislike, and I, having seen it recently, was not the biggest fan, but I enjoyed the chintzy factor of it all.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's a TV movie from 1990, so.
But I will say, like, the documentary looks interesting, and I love anything that talks about a movie that Tommy Lee Wallace made. So, like, obviously, I do love revisiting the story of Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. So, But yeah, the trailer looks fine. It's an Indiegogo affair, so like
Yeah.
it'll be fun. I like that the stuff that they're offering, like they were offering like exclusive slip covers if you bought it and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like those, that was a pretty neat like little addition to the whole affair. So I totally dug that. Ryan, we're getting A Quiet Place 2, and all your favorite people are coming back.
I know I love Emily Blunt. I don't know if I've ever said that on this podcast.
I'm not sure you have. Tell me more. Like, did she have a car?
No, she did have a shotgun though.
No,
She did get a car at the end of the movie.
Oh, can you imagine that? John Krasinski is coming back to direct and also to help write the script. Emily Blunt will be returning. Also, the two kids from the film, what's her name? Millicent Simmons and Noah Jupe.
That was a quick turnaround.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, it was a good movie.
I mean, it's a great movie. It's one of those things where I think they were surprised by how successful it was. Not knowing that, I mean, I'm sure they thought it had a potential, but, you know, I mean, it made almost $400 million worldwide.
I was surprised by how little they were trying to push it in the awards thing. And then I remembered that since it's not Universal like handling it, which can handle horror pretty well, as we've seen with Blumhouse and stuff. Like Paramount, I don't think knew how to push it correctly.
Paramount has never known how to sell horror.
Well, I know that we give me back Jason, please. I mean, it's not even just for me; it's for Ryan. Like Ryan needs it, or he'll die.
And
of
how much
cancer.
money does like Victor Miller need? Why don't you just pay him off? Give him like $15 million.
Every time I listen to an interview with Victor Miller, like, I mean, I respect the man. He wrote that
Yeah,
script.
I don't think there's anything wrong with him challenging it, but it's like, dude, are you really that like hung up on a creation that you still make lots of money off of?
Right. I think it's a tricky situation because there's part of me that's like, well, yeah, dude, but like, look how much notoriety you'll have. Like, your legacy's set for life.
Yeah.
Man.
And I mean, it's always going to boil down to is, I mean, who really created Jason? And it's, I know this because I've read Crystal Lake Memories. I've watched all the documentaries.
Victor Miller created a boy who drowned in a lake.
Yeah.
The other writers created a hulking, hot machete-wielding maniac.
So it's tough, and that's what happens when you have nothing but negative pickups on all the films.
Also, sorry to be so brutal and blunt about the term boy who drowned in a lake. That felt really weird to say. But yeah, Quiet Place 2 should be fun. I enjoyed that film. We're getting another 2, though, and this is up Henry's alley. In 2021, we are getting the return of the Toon Squad. Yep. LeBron James in Space Jam 2 has been slated for July 16th, 2021.
I guess they probably have to start filming that like in the fall or something because I'm sure the special effects would take a while.
And also them working around LeBron's schedule.
That'd be in the summer.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, like, I've said this in my head since they announced this news because I want it.
Yeah, he's being a booger.
I've said this in my head since the news has come up that they want to redo this. I'm like, well, what's that gonna be? And do I really care? Because like I love the Looney Tunes a lot, but and I like Space Jam fine. It's a family memory, but
Yeah.
I don't care if that's what they want to do with Looney Tunes. That I'd rather just stick to my DVDs.
So my problem with it, and whatever, Space Jam's whatever, is I think it's like neutered versions of the Looney Tunes, so I have a hard time.
Right. I will say though, like, and this is one of the things that I love Henry's appreciation for it, and I do appreciate that film for its commitment to insanity. It's certainly watchable still.
Yeah,
like,
no,
I can
the movie's
still
fine.
watch the film.
I just prefer my Looney Tunes a little more loony.
But I do wonder, like, do I really need another one? I've got one of them, and it's fine. And I don't know. We'll see, though. Ryan Coogler's producing it, so that'll be lots of fun.
Yeah.
Can't really.
Well, I need to be successful so LeBron James can produce Friday the 13th.
I agree. I love that he said that. That made me so happy. This is something I wasn't expecting, and I think you'll know more about it than I will because I'm not the biggest wrestling fan. Chris Hemsworth's gonna play Hulk Hogan?
I know, that's maybe the greatest news ever.
What the fuck?
I don't see it, but I also think that's going to be amazing because Hemsworth is such a talented comedian.
Right.
And I don't know if they're going to play it straight or if they're going to play it silly. I don't know.
It's. I mean, and it's Netflix doing it, so
Yeah, and I heard they're not going to deal with his Gawker lawsuit. It's really just his rise through the through the Hulkamaniacs. So.
Well, I mean the Gawker thing. Did you watch the documentary on Netflix, Nobody Speak, about the Gawker thing? It's not necessarily just about him. He's kind of like the catalyst that kicks it off.
I mean, he brought him down. So.
Right, but it's also about like it's about those types of like scandals and how they get out there, and it all leads back to like what we're dealing with today. But there's a lot of Hulk Hogan stories that are pretty incredible. Like regardless of how I
don't know. Did you ever watch the documentary Andre?
Yeah, the one HBO did.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, the one where they talk about his final fight is pretty astounding. Like that would be a great document or a feature film in and of itself. So
yeah, because I mean, yeah, I do like old school wrestling, and the story leading up to that I think is really really fascinating. How Hulk never knew if Andre would actually go through with what they had planned, and he was shocked when it did. So
yeah,
I think that's a really fascinating story.
Well, what's even more fascinating to me is that the Iron Sheik had something to say about this news.
Yeah.
Did you read this tweet?
No.
I'm going to read it to you.
Sweet.
And I'm going to be as tactful as I can because it's all in caps. Chris Hemsworth, you jabroni. I swear to Jesus, I suplex you when I see you. Remember who make the Hulkamania and is the real legend of the earth.
Yeah, I mean,
bless you, Iron Sheik.
Yeah,
bless you.
I mean, the funny thing is the Hulkamania really was catapulted by that because at the time is Cold War, Russian, and at the I can't remember. I just really watched a documentary about this, and I can't remember if the Iron Sheik was the champion for a really long time, and they call it in the business called putting someone over.
Yeah.
And Hogan did beat him and put him over. I think he was a champion for like a year or something.
There's a documentary on the Sheik on Netflix. Yeah. One of the sites that I saw not a long time, like a couple of years ago, but I'd want to rewatch it. It's so
the Iron
weird,
Sheik is a character.
Yeah, no, they did a documentary on the guy who
no, I mean like in real life and in the wrestling ring, he's quite the character.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But so like. It's funny because like I never followed wrestling, but the documentaries that have been coming out lately about wrestlers have been supremely fascinating.
Oh yeah, they're really fascinating.
Like I still like Resurrecting Jake the Snake's my favorite because I really like the story. Even though it's probably the most like inspirational come to Jesus. But
well, I mean, have you ever seen Beyond the Mat?
No, not that.
You should watch that, and so Jake the Snake is in it, and it's when he's like really bad at drugs.
Oh,
it's really good.
I want to also see the one that you put on your 98 list.
Wrestling with Shadows?
Yeah, Wrestling with Shadows. Yeah, the
Hitman.
Yeah, Hitman. But yeah, so that'll be interesting. Do you know, Ryan, anything about George Romero's novel, The Living Dead?
I did when I read the tweet by the guy who co-wrote it.
Yeah, so apparently it's going to be published in 2020. So George A. Romero's last piece of work will be available for us to see.
Did I hear too right that he made a couple movies that haven't been released? I'm pretty sure I read that somewhere.
I didn't see.
Or maybe it's unfilmed screenplays.
Yeah, I don't see anything on this article about it, but I mean, regardless, like it'd be interesting to see if somebody would be able to tackle those. But I wouldn't want I certainly don't want a studio to get a hold of them. I would want someone on the independent end to do it because it would seem more correct given Romero's past and whatnot. We'll talk about it in what we've been watching, but I watched a documentary that talks about Night of the Living Dead in it, and from a perspective that I hadn't really talked about or thought about as much. And Romero is a genius, even if he was modest about it.
Oh, and I love Romero, and I love watching interviews with him.
Oh yeah,
because he's really, really fun. His commentaries are really fun too.
He's very open.
Very.
Yeah, I like his demeanor of just like I don't care.
Yeah, I mean in
they're movies.
I love his one on Land of the Dead because he talks about it was originally called Dead Reckoning because the trucking is called Dead Reckoning,
right?
And he talks about how he didn't like the CGI stuff in it, and there's that one where the zombies like flips its head over and bites the person when its head's hanging back, and he talks about that never ever worked, and I mean he's right.
Yeah, no, but it's good to know that his last piece of work will be available.
Heck yeah,
I'll
get it.
And And then the last piece of news is just for me. It's the 40th anniversary this year of Monty Python's Life of Brian, my favorite Monty Python movie, and we're going to be getting a re-release in the theaters. So
All right, enjoy that.
I will, yeah. All you people who don't think it's cool, shut up. But anyway, that's news.
Cool. Any sweet Blu-rays coming out next week?
I'll find out.
DVD releases and Blu-rays.
Bye.
Whatever.
No, come back.
Whatever.
Come back. We'll
loser.
talk about it.
We've actually got a lot of cool stuff. First off, Wreck-It Ralph is coming to 4K, Blu-ray, digital, and a sweet new
You mean
steelbook.
Ralph Breaks the Internet?
I'm sorry, Wreck-It Ralph. Ralph Breaks the Internet. Ralph 2. John C. Reilly Breaks the Internet.
Yes.
That's what I'm going to call it. The Sisters Brothers 2 Wreck-It Ralph. And then we're also getting 4Ks, though, of The Little Mermaid, the original animated classic. Also,
It can be a part of your world.
oh, yeah, exactly. Actually, the steelbook on Little Mermaid is pretty cool. It's a little bit more, or maybe, no, that's a Target exclusive. Sorry. I'm looking at the wrong one. But also, this is the one that I'm going to be picking up is Captain America, The First Avenger is finally getting released on 4K, and it's got a really cool steelbook that looks amazing.
I love when they take the titles of the movies off the steelbooks, and it's just art.
Yep, I agree. And this one is the initial, I think the final one sheet from when it was released in 11.
I think so.
So
And I mean, I was reading, I don't know if it was on Digital Bits or High Def Digest. They're going to release the other Captain Americas before Winter Soldier, and Disney confirmed without confirming that they're going to slowly trickle out the rest of the Avengers and MCU in 4K.
yeah. Well, that's cool. That means it.
I like that they're spacing them out so I don't go broke.
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah. Until they put out that Ultimate Edition next year at some point.
Yeah, which
That'll like make you put out a second mortgage.
no.
But what I will say though is like, I'm glad I waited for this steelbook because First Avenger, regardless of how many great films they've made, First Avenger is still my favorite Marvel film, probably.
Right on.
And actually, it would remain that even. I think we should do a top 10 Marvel film explosion for
Be fun.
Endgame. That'd be amazing. But anyway, we've also got other stuff. Shout Select is putting out Used Cars, which is Robert Zemeckis' film. That is,
all right.
It's the thing they do before they get to go do Back to the Future, and that's great. Shout's also putting out the 2003 remake of Willard, which
I love that movie.
I think I like the original one a lot because it's got a creepy atmosphere. It was shot back in the day, but Crispin Glover.
Have you ever listened to his commentary?
No,
Oh, it's brilliant. So I haven't. I used to have the DVD, and I think I still have it. But on the DVD, he does a commentary because he also did a cover of Ben, Michael Jackson's Ben.
Yeah.
And the video is really weird that he directed.
Yeah.
And he does a commentary on it. And no joke, so let's say it starts. He said, "Okay, in this shot, I was going for blah blah," and he talks so fast. And so I think the video is like 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes long, and you just bombarded with information because he seems like he doesn't take a breath.
Wow.
And he just keeps going. And over here we have this rat, and it was blah, 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 blah. So his commentaries are brilliant.
Wow. Incredible. I cannot wait for that. Coming from presumably just a back label is The Mole People
Yeah, that's Shout Factory.
from a Last Age horror. Crawls from the earth, from the depths of the earth, The Mole People. Yes.
It's a Shout Factory, and it includes, Scream Factory. It includes the Mystery Science Theater 3000 as a bonus on there.
Oh, it is Shout. Oh, gosh. It didn't have the... Oh, because it's Scream. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. No, they wouldn't put the thing in
But,
front of it.
I think it's worth it just to get, the Mole People and the Mystery Science Theater 3000
I agree.
episode on there.
I like when the ones that they have done for MST3K are able to be included onto the initial release of the film, because that indicates that it is a classic, but they were able to somehow pudge it into their show. Also in 4K, Mary Queen of Scots, a.k.a. a movie that Corinne found underwhelming. So you can check out Margot Robbie as a queen. And
You like Margot Robbie?
yeah, so there you go. Also, they're re-releasing the movie Spun with Brittany Murphy, which I don't remember. So
Nope.
I know it exists.
She's been dead for like 8 years.
It's so weird.
Right?
I remember when she was like at least somewhat of a thing.
I know, and it's like so weird the whole story because her like husband died. Was it 2 weeks later?
Yeah.
Like they're thinking that they both got some mold or I don't know. It's weird. You can read it on if you go online.
I remember when she first died, they were like just like, oh, it must have been drugs. Must have been drugs, and it's like, no, it wasn't drugs.
It's like pneumonia.
Yeah, it's
with
like
anemia or something. I forget what it was.
It's
but
like
it's
as-
really bizarre.
it's as weird to me as when Bernie Mac died, and I'm like, he died from that? Oh shit, that sucks.
Yeah.
Also from Shout Select is the Legally Blonde collection. So, if you want to bend and snap with Legally Blonde 1 and 2, you can get those on Blu-ray.
Sure.
My sister loves those movies.
Yeah, they're never my thing, but I know a lot of people that like them.
We saw the first one in the theater, and my sister and I would rewatch it constantly, but I have not seen it in years. So I do not remember if A, is it any good, and B, is it any appropriate in the current day and age?
Good question.
I mean, it's certainly an
Was
interesting.
it 2003?
It's 2003, but it's just like the humor. I remember being a
How
little
do I
bit
know
like,
the year that came out? God, that's been,
Reese Witherspoon infected your brain that year.
yeah, with her pointy chin.
And then Wild Rovers from Warner Archive, and Tinseltown from Twilight Time. So, and then seems to be it as far as I can see here. There's a re-release of My Fair Lady.
Oh, it's a good movie.
Yeah, Jack L. Warner's My Fair Lady.
You know what I love most about that
What?
is Julie Andrews won the Oscar.
Sure, rubbing it in Audrey Hepburn's face.
Yeah, take that, Audrey Hepburn, who died 35 years ago.
Yeah. And then 2 days later, and February 28th will be my birthday, and the only thing that will be available is Fanta Sex,
Wow.
which I'm like, okay.
Wow, subtle plug there,
Yeah,
Zach.
No. But I was looking down going like, there are actually movies being released that day, and this is the other one. Sure enough, it's just, look at this. This is weird.
Pick it up.
I don't know. Yeah, you know what I should do like Henry did when he reviewed that one porno from that
That's
software,
right.
that Love Lisa or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah, I forget.
Oh, God. But anyway, that's Blu-rays.
We also watch movies throughout the week in a segment I call Movies That We've Watched Throughout the Week.
So, yeah, this is the stuff we've been watching.
Zach?
I actually got through a good ton of stuff. I did another Fitness Cinema on my phone though because this whole month has been filled with
your phone.
yeah because this whole month's been full of films that I just don't want to watch. It's rom-com month. Like March will be better. But so I just decided to rewatch Mars Attacks because it was on Prime. I got a good like 1,100 calories done on it.
Movie's all right.
I like the movie a lot. They're doing a mini series on Tim Burton films on Blank Check right now, and Paul F. Tompkins was on the episode about Mars Attacks, and it reminded me of how brilliant that film really is. And rewatching it,
Creature designs are brilliant.
yeah, rewatching it though, like it is Tim Burton's Doctor Strangelove, which is a strange sentence to
I guess
say.
so, yeah.
Like Jack Nicholson apparently wanted to play more than just.
So
the
let
two
me get this
characters.
right. The aliens attack. That's
Like,
my horrible Jack Nicholson.
Apparently, he wanted to play more than one or more than two of the characters. Like he wanted to do a Peter Sellers, which would have been incredible.
Yeah.
Insane, but incredible. And I liked rewatching Rod Steiger as the head of the military, and him just like pounding desks and like yelling in Jack Nicholson's face. I thought was hilarious. I forgot Lucas Haas is in that movie.
That's
and
right.
Him and his grandma are the ones who saved the day with the Whit Stillman song, or the Slim Whitman song. And Glenn Close, this year's Oscar nominee, gets killed by a chandelier falling on her head. And also, like, the aliens are a bunch of nihilists, and it's pretty hilarious to watch them not give a fuck while they're blowing up the earth. So it's a good excuse for some explosions, and I still enjoy it. Danny DeVito is, like, literally in 2 scenes in that movie, and I don't understand why he's there, but I don't care. And then I've been keeping up with Star Trek again. I got through Best of the Both Worlds again, which was still an amazing 2-parter where Captain Picard is assimilated by the Borg. leads into the classic film First Contact.
Sorry, you're with the one guy who could care less.
Oh, well, that's true. But you like First Contact.
I like the movies.
Yeah.
The
you,
shows are a tough sell on me.
You might want to watch Best of Both Worlds if you ever get a chance, because it's basically the prequel to First
Well,
Contact.
you own it, so I'll borrow it.
Well, it's on Netflix. That's
Is
how-
it?
That's
oh,
how-
okay.
that's
Well,
how
then
I
I'll
know.
watch it too because I have Netflix.
Something that you and I will bond over. I rewatched Candyman. I got
Candyman's a great movie.
I got the Scream Factory in. I have not seen it in a long time. I remember liking it, but that was about it.
Be my victim.
I think in this rewatch that this is easily one of the greatest horror movies of the past 30 years ever made.
I think it's one of the best in the 90s for sure.
Definitely. It's I mean, Candyman, story about Virginia Madsen, goes to investigate an urban legend, finds out it's true, and it fucks up her life. With Tony Todd being the said Candyman, you can't say his name 5 times. How many times have we said it so far?
Oh no, Candyman, Candyman, Candyman,
God damn
Candyman,
it.
Candyman.
If I see Tony Todd in my basement tonight, you're fucking
It's
dead.
awesome. I met him, and it's one of the coolest things I've ever done.
I hear there's an interview.
There is somewhere.
But no, Bernard Rose, the guy who directed it, though, like I was looking at his filmography, like he did that, Immortal Beloved, and that's
Yeah.
kind of it.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't do a lot of stuff after this, which is insane. And I mean, like the story, like it moves pretty quick. Like it's about
Yeah.
a 90-minute movie, like roughly.
Yeah, and I think I want to say that Candyman doesn't show up for 45 minutes.
Yeah,
Like
no,
he's
no.
in it a little bit at the beginning with Ted Raimi. I always laugh when I see Ted Raimi.
Yeah. No, the terror of the film is really like the setting and how how they utilize it and the socioeconomic climate of the Chicago area, like in the upper wealthy side versus, downtown in the ghetto. And Virginia Madsen, I think, is great. in
Oh,
the
I think
film.
she's amazing, and I think not the like the little ending, but I think the ending with her is heartbreaking and really scary.
Yeah, not. We're not talking about the very, very end
Yeah.
where this shit goes bananas.
Yeah, I'm talking about her,
her
sacrificing
in the-
herself
in the
and
fire. I mean, like it's been close to 30 years. I think we could spoil
Yeah.
this. Yeah, no, she saves a baby that was kidnapped by the Candyman, but in the process dies at a bonfire.
Did you watch the director's cut?
I still haven't. No.
So
what's
it's
the difference?
Nothing. So it's the same length, and so that scene where she's talking to the doctor and he gets killed. There's about 15 seconds of standard def like put into it because I guess I couldn't find it.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't look that bad. Actually, it matches pretty well, but it's just way more violent.
Oh.
Like blood flies everywhere, and
Okay.
but that's the only difference.
Well, that's still enough to.
Oh
warrant
no, it's
putting it out,
definitely.
I guess.
I mean, it's definitely unrated.
It seems like that's an excuse because I looked at the way the special features are spread out, and I'm like, well, this is clearly the bonus feature disc.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same with how the Army of Darkness one is set
Yeah,
up,
I agree.
where it's like the international version. It's all scattered, but it's all there.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, Army of Darkness. Each cut's way different,
yeah,
but
and
Candyman's the same.
and so and also this gave me a reevaluation of Philip Glass. I don't like Philip Glass's score for Dracula that they did in the mid '90s or mid to late '90s for those re-releases of the original film because the original Dracula had no score. Philip Glass was commissioned to do a score. I don't like it. The score for Candyman though is fucking amazing,
Yeah.
and it's classical music in and of itself.
I think what makes it stand out too. It's kind of an American modern Gothic film
yeah,
because I mean, the ghetto that they're in is, I mean, the way it's shot, the way it has the murals on it, and
it's the way it's lit too,
Yeah,
and
it's really
especially at night.
very Gothic.
It's very tethered to the American experience,
Yeah.
which is amazing. And I feel like one of the strangest things about it on this rewatch was how much of a twisted love story it was
Oh, yeah.
pushing. Which when you watch Immortal Beloved and this back to back, it kind of makes sense because that's Bernard Rose can kind of push that kind of weird twisted version of romance in there. And Tony Todd's great. I mean,
he's amazing.
I would like to rewatch the sequels, but I remember not really enjoying those.
Farewell to Flesh is okay. It's
It's
hard.
It's Bill Condon.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
like Bill Condon, but it's hard to follow up that film.
Yeah.
And there's some moments that are pretty effective. I mean, they actually show his lynching and stuff,
Mhm.
and I mean, it's heartbreaking and kind of it makes you sympathize with him more, which is really weird because I mean in Candyman he's pretty ruthless,
Yeah.
but there's this like pain behind his ruthlessness,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Well, when
And-
you hear his story of his origin, like he is very much a victim. And-
oh yeah, I
but
mean, you know what's interesting is I think a lot of slashers are besides Freddy Krueger.
yeah.
I think a lot of them are victims. I mean, yeah, Jason is an unstoppable killing machine, but he's really a victim.
Yeah, no, he was he drowned in the lake, and I mean, Michael's not really anything. He's the boogeyman. He's kind of a blank slate.
Well, I mean, what Halloween are you talking about?
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. His stepfather William Forsythe did beat him.
Thank you.
But no, yeah, Candyman, check it out.
Oh yeah,
Scream,
Scream. It's
Scream.
amazing.
They did a great job cleaning that thing up. And on that front, though, I watched a Shudder documentary called Horror Noir, which is a film about African American horror experience.
Oh yeah,
And that's the film that I was talking about. That talked about Night of the Living Dead because. So what's interesting is that it's basically the history of horror cinema through the African American experience. So the beginning part of it, they're talking a lot about how the experience itself is the horror film.
Yeah.
But then you go further, and they're like, okay, now we're actually starting to make movies because we're breaking barriers. And Night of the Living Dead is one of the first they talk about because of Dwayne Jones, whose amazing performance in that film. Hearing that perspective on it, I've heard it before, but not in the way they describe it in the documentary. And you have people like Ken Foree and Keith David on the documentary talking about how they felt watching it for the first time. You have the director of Tales from the Hood, which is a movie I haven't seen in a long time, but I remember liking. I mean, like, whether or not I'll still love it is dependent on a rewatch, but it's interesting to hear them talk about that. They talk about a lot of stuff in the mid-'70s, especially Blackula. Like, I mean, that's probably one of the best Blackula special features you'll ever see is the director of it talking about it there. And they also, they talk a lot about Get Out, too, because Get Out's kind of the impetus to discuss this history of the African-American experience in there. Candyman's obviously discussed. Tales from the Hood. And a lot of other films that I didn't expect to be on those lists of discussion that I'm definitely going to go check out. But it's a 90-minute documentary on Shudder, so if you got Shudder for $4.99, you can check that out for free.
Yeah, I'm excited. They're going to put Eli Roth's History of Horror on there, and they're doing like a podcast with the extended interviews with all the people involved.
Ooh, nice.
And I think they're going to put it on Shudder as well, so you can watch like the video one. So I'm kind of excited about that because if you haven't seen it, it was on AMC. It's really good.
Yeah, I've heard. It was like the Robert Kirkman one. I wanted to wait until it was done and then I could watch it. I still haven't seen the James Cameron one. It's mainly because I don't want to watch James Cameron talk. He's fine. He wrote a fine movie last week. I went through 2 Bogart films to complement your Cary Grant obsession.
Nice.
I decided to watch My Ultimate Badass.
I mean, he's no Cary Grant.
No, but Cary Grant's no Bogart.
Hey.
But the first one I watched was Across the Pacific, which is a film from 1942, directed by John Huston.
I'm sorry. What was the name?
Across the Pacific.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Across the Pacific is a straight-up propaganda World War II film.
Grandfather loved that movie.
Made almost immediately after Pearl Harbor and released after Pearl Harbor, just before John Huston entered the service and shot documentaries for the War Department. The film, and one of the things I love about Ryan and I's love of film history is we'll talk about these things, and we were talking about context over text earlier in the week. And this film, you have to go in with a lot of context involved. It's basically Humphrey Bogart plays a man who is out to catch Japanese saboteurs and people involved with Japanese saboteurs, so that they don't so that they don't find flight patterns and then are able to attack the United States. And the portrayal of Japanese Americans is of its time, and it's only like watchable in the sense of like this was the enemy to people at the time, so it is very much a relic of it. It doesn't make it unwatchable though. It's still watchable for Bogart's performance, Mary Astor's performance, Sidney Greenstreet.
a lot.
Yeah, Sidney Greenstreet's the villain, and he's great in it. But again, like if those things do bother you, you may want to skip it. It's, but I think it's
we were talking about it, and it's hard because at the time, I mean, Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, so
Right.
there's a lot of patriotism and
a lot of jingoistic.
jingoistic views on we got to fight back, and how are we? Because at that point, yeah, we were also going to fight in the war in Europe, but Japan came to Pearl Harbor, so there's a little more resentment there. And I Cary Grant did some more movies at this time.
Yeah. One of which I was asking about you earlier in the week.
Yeah, which I didn't have time to watch, but he said because he was I think he was just a little too old to go into the service because at that time I think he was like 44, 42.
Yeah, roughly about that.
And so he wanted to help any way he could because, I mean, a lot of people don't know. So Cary Grant was born in England and his mom left him. And so he joined vaudeville. Yeah. And if you watch his early movies, he still has kind of that vaudevillian
patter to
exactly. And even his way he, acts. So he couldn't, and so he became an American citizen and he couldn't fight in the war, but he thought by doing movies like Destination Tokyo and things like that he would be helping the war effort because he couldn't go. So he says, you know what, I'm going to be, a guy who takes a submarine to Tokyo or whatever the case may be.
Right, which is like it is definitely the same case with other actors of the period. Like some do get more directly involved, like James Stewart did, and you have people like John Huston and William Wyler and John Ford going out there and filming those documentaries for the war effort. But I mean, and Across the Pacific, I think its bigger problem, other than its portrayal of Japanese Americans, because that's gonna be of the period no matter what. It's very hastily put together. I like the story a lot, and John Huston's a genius writer director.
Oh yeah.
But it's not my favorite of his films, mainly because I think it's super rushed. The only reason I know it's super rushed is because he wants to go off to war.
Yeah.
So can't hold it too much against it. It's still immensely watchable. It's got a lot of great action sequences in it, but they are kind of like tethered together in a weird way. So I'd still check it out, though. The other Bogart movie I watched, though, which I hadn't seen in a long time, and
Never seen Casablanca?
No,
what a dick.
What, Treasure of Sierra Madre? No, I've never heard of it. No, this is one that is a great film that I had completely forgotten about over the years called All Through the Night, which is a film by Vincent Sherman, starring Humphrey Bogart, with early appearances by Phil Silvers and Jackie Gleason. Ryan, have you ever seen All Through the Night?
I have not.
Okay, you're going to love this movie. I'm going to give you a very quick rundown of it. Humphrey Bogart is a gangster who is well loved by the neighborhood, who stumbles across the murder of a baker that he loves, and his mother tells him to investigate it because she has a feeling. So Humphrey Bogart investigates the murder of this baker.
Kind of like the Maltese Falcon.
Do you want to know where the murder of this baker leads to?
Yeast.
Spoiler alert, it's a Nazi plot.
Yes.
Humphrey Bogart, the whole movie is Humphrey Bogart infiltrating a American Nazi nest inside of New York City.
I love when they fight Nazis.
This one is basically all the things you think about wanting to happen in Casablanca actually coming to life. It's like a comedy. Or actually, more to the point, the way it's shot, and you do want to watch it, it's like an early action movie, and like instead of like a Stallone or a Schwarzenegger, you have Humphrey Bogart, and there are one-liners in it, and it's pretty incredible.
See, here's the thing: is I love Notorious, because Cary Grant is so mean to Bergman because she's a Nazi. She forces him to marry Claude Rains in it,
right?
And infiltrate the Nazis. I love it.
Yeah,
and he's so mean to her,
right? And the reason I'm describing it to you this way is because, one, I hadn't seen it in a long time, and I don't remember a lot of it. But I knew the title and about Conrad Veidt from Casablanca being in it and also playing another Nazi. But I've forgotten the intricate details of this film, and it is just a flat-out action comedy that happens to also be a movie where people punch out Nazis like crazy. It's pretty awesome to watch. And again, like any film of the era, there is some context issues. There's a couple weird shots where when you see them, you'll know what they are. But everything else about this movie is fucking amazing. And it almost makes me wonder if Quentin Tarantino watched this before going to make Inglourious Basterds, because there's some similarities in the finale to this film that there are in Inglourious Basterds, just in terms of the way characters interact. But I also, like, especially in the current day and age we live in, I'd love to see this kind of action movie happen because it's pretty awesome. There's a scene literally where like one guy's knocking out a bunch of Nazis, and after he hits one each time, he writes V for victory with chalk on their backs and just throws them into a pile.
Yes.
There's one guy who Phil Silvers actually has a great moment where he tries to trick them by drawing them out by like he'll grab one person by the collar and go Heil, and then if they Heil, he hits them in the head with a hammer and knocks them into another pile.
Reasonable response.
Yeah, and he's funny in it, and Jackie Gleason's in it. He's in it for like I don't know, like 15 minutes, and he's not anything funny necessarily. He's just a heavy in the movie.
Love it.
But he's really young, and he's kind of like slimmed down. So it's kind of weird seeing like what Ralph Cramden looks like when he's trying to woo Alice. So, but yeah, I would check it out. It's an insane time.
Love it.
And then the last thing I watched, or the last two things I watched were both digital. I watched Happy Death Day, the first one. Amazing film.
Fun.
I could not believe I missed it. I feel so
The lead
bad.
actress is really good.
She's wonderful. She is. I at first did not like her. I was just
I
like,
think you're not supposed to, actually.
well, I mean, yes, the character and whatnot, but I was just like, is she like doing that fake sorority girl thing and whatnot? Like him as, but then
Bye.
the movie goes on, and I'm just like, oh, she's making a deliberate choice, and it's very hilarious.
Yeah.
That works to the strength of the film. I like the twist.
Yeah. And it's a
although
slasher movie with heart. It's really weird.
Yeah, because it's not scary.
No.
I don't think it's scary. I think it's.
I call it more of like a thriller.
Yeah, it's suspenseful.
Yeah.
And I care about the characters, but there's nothing that's like chilling me to the core.
No.
So if anything, I think I would actually classify it as a good murder mystery movie.
Yeah.
Like that's what I think it is. And then the last thing I watched was Steven Soderbergh did a new movie for Netflix called High Flying Bird, which I checked out. It's a film shot on an iPhone. So it looks pretty.
Yeah, that's what he's doing now.
Yeah. Which I had not seen Unsane yet, so I didn't know how that.
I think the title's terrible, but I keep on hearing the movie's good.
High Flying Bird.
No,
Oh,
Unsane.
Unsane. I've heard it's like a good B movie schlock type of thing, kind of like what Side Effects ended up being, or Contagion. Sorry. But High Flying Bird is an interesting film about an NBA lockout and how a player manager tries to get the lockout resolved. And I don't want to spoil a lot of it because it's a quick 90-minute watch that maybe you'll enjoy if you're into sports. But it's all about basically adhering to the rules of the game and when it's appropriate to break the rules. Not even just in terms of the game itself, but like the foundation that holds the game, like the organization, like the NBA and like how it functions. And it's intercut with interviews of different rookies, and they talk about the rookie experience. It's one of those Steven Soderbergh films that I haven't seen in a while where I really think. And I really enjoyed that. It's honestly one of the best films I've seen this year, which thanks Netflix for your fucking weather machine. I wish I could have seen this in the theater, but I mean, I would recommend it, especially if you've got 90 minutes to kill. Like, and Zazie Beetz is in it, Zachary Quinto's in it. They're like side characters and whatnot. And I think my favorite performance of the year thus far comes from Bill Duke, playing a coach who works for a community center, and he has some of the best scenes I've seen in a movie in a while, where he's just like, he's got a very calm presence in the film talking about the realities of basketball, which I am heretofore unaware of. So I really appreciated the movie not treating me like an idiot, but also not coddling me like a baby. So I would check it out. It's on Netflix, so you don't risk any money. And that's all I watched this week.
Nice. Yeah. A few things. I got my Blu-ray of Heart and Souls, which is a Robert Downey Jr. film.
Did a specialty label put it out?
No, it's Universal. So Universal every once in a while puts out
Like back catalog.
back catalog stuff on Blu-ray.
They put the producer's remake
Yeah.
out recently.
So no special features.
Oh.
The transfer is good. I mean, it's an upgrade from the DVD. So the colors are a little more pronounced. In the film, Robert Downey Jr.'s character is born after this bus crashes, and these four souls are like attached to him.
That
And-
number is very important.
Yes, and so they don't know why, and so when he's a little boy, everyone thinks he's crazy because he says, am I friends? But then Robert Downey Jr. shows up about 40 minutes into the movie. But the movie's good. It's Ron Underwood. So, I mean, a competent director. Really good special effects for a 1993 film. It's a little cheesy, but, I mean, so it basically boils down to is he has to fulfill, like, a loss or, like a job for them. So Charles Grodin's in it, and he left an audition and he never sang, so he has to sing in front of people. The real reason to see it is Robert Downey Jr. is amazing in this movie. He plays 5 different people. Obviously plays the character he is in the film, and he also plays the 4 other angels. And he's really great. That's why you should see it. The movie is what it is. It's okay.
Okay. This is like, was he in his bad times around this?
I think it's just before him.
just before.
So
it
he's
gets
still,
bad?
kind of doing it and not.
I don't blame him. If I was on Ally McBeal,
Right.
I'd not.
No, so now
That's-
Ally
that's
McBeal, I
rude.
think, was like 6 years later.
Yeah, that's
Um,
rude, by the way. Ally McBeal is a fine show, I'm sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
I watched Rick and Morty season 3. I've
The pickle.
I've slowly gotten into Rick and Morty. The show's brilliant. The pickle Rick, because it's such an pop culture lexicon now. You're like, what is so weird about? What's so great about this pickle Rick? And the episode, he turns himself into a pickle
To avoid therapy.
to avoid therapy, and then they have this great moment where it gets really serious on why he's there, and that's what I really love about Rick and Morty is it's really silly, but then it gets really grounded.
Yeah.
It's a great show.
I'm not a super fan, but there is one moment in it that is probably one of the most profound animation moments I've ever seen. Not the most, but one of them. It's after they go to a planet where Rick was intimate with an alien lady or something.
Yeah.
But he can't be with her or something. I can't remember. But he goes into the garage to commit suicide. But he's always so drunk that he passes out, and the ray that was gonna hit his head misses him, and he just passes out from attempting suicide. And it was like, it made me cry.
Yeah.
Like, it's so weird.
Really well done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I definitely pick it up. A really great, really good documentary on Netflix right now is The Two Killings of Sam Cooke. I'm a huge Sam Cooke fan. And his murder.
Bugface.
He's talking about Rick and Morty. So in the opening where like Morty has like the butt for a face and he's looking at porn.
Yeah.
That's what he remembers. So for people that don't know, Sam Cooke was murdered in 1964 in a kind of a sleazy hotel.
Right.
Kellen, can you be quiet?
It's one of those like true crime involving
Yeah.
a celebrity that I didn't know about it until maybe a few years ago.
Yeah,
'cause I
it's
just didn't
pretty
think to
sad.
Look it up.
Because Sam Cooke, I've always said this.
His records are amazing.
His records are amazing. If you people want to know, because I'm a big Rod Stewart fan, where Rod Stewart got his persona,
It's Sam Cooke,
it's definitely Sam Cooke.
amongst others.
Okay, buddy, 1 second, okay?
But no, he's got songs that I'll still listen to.
Oh,
He'll
his-
put on
A Change Is Gonna Come is maybe the greatest protest song ever. I'm gonna say it's the greatest. I don't think it's even debatable. And that was released after he died.
Right.
And so there's a big conspiracy about his death because the story is he goes to this hacienda in Los Angeles after he parties with this one girl. She runs out of the room saying she was kidnapped and this guy was crazy. The police show up. They find Sam Cooke dead with just a jacket on.
right.
And he has 2 bullet shot twice and one pierced his heart. Killed by the manager there. So the manager's story is that he came up screaming at her and she shot him in self-defense.
Right.
They ruled that it wasn't self-defense, and she's actually been sued by the Cooke estate, and she won. There's a lot of people in the African American community that believes he was murdered on purpose. Because what a lot of people don't know about Sam Cooke is even before he was doing A Change Is Gonna Come, he was hanging out with Muhammad Ali, Jim Brown, Malcolm X,
Right.
and he's one of the first black soul singers that appeared on, Dick Clark, and
he
there's
broke a lot of barriers.
tons of barriers, and he's so amazing. The documentary is pretty good. There's some factual things in there that I kind of irks me. I won't say what they are because I don't want to sound like an asshole, but there's a couple things that happen that again, the documentary is trying to fit a narrative. I get it, and they get a lot of prominent people from the music business because you remember Sam Cooke died in 1964. I think he was 32, 33.
Yeah, pretty young.
Really young.
Mm-hmm.
So his I cried a few times in it because his son died while he was out of town, and his son fell in a pool and drowned.
Mm-hmm.
And then no matter how you slice it, if you believe that he was done, like Rod Stewart believes he was done in like on purpose.
Yeah, which I'm not gonna lie, I think too.
Yeah. So I mean, the problem with his death is there's so many unanswered questions.
Yeah.
Because is it really reasonable to shoot some dude twice?
No.
and I mean, does she get away with it because he's an African American? I think you can make the case for that in the early 1960s.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where it's weird. Like of the deaths that happened to prominent activists in that era, it's certainly one of the strangest. I think the only one that's probably as mysterious, only because of not for the same reasons, but just in terms of being a mystery, is probably Malcolm X's.
Because I think Malcolm X died a couple months later.
Yeah, and he was, and I mean, he was the alleged thing is he was assassinated by different people from the faction that he belonged to, that he was breaking away from the community that he belonged to. So it's, but like, and again, like, I love the subject of Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X and whatnot. I mean, a lot of that came from watching the Malcolm X movie as a kid, and then also reading books. But like, I don't know every single detail. Yeah. So with Sam Cooke's also is kind of an
I would say watch the documentary is still really good. It's a great overview of his life.
Yeah.
And they call it the two killings because they obviously his murder, but they also talk about how he was swindled out of his records,
right?
Because I mean, at the time, a lot of people weren't singer-songwriters, and Sam Cooke was one of them,
right?
Because Elvis is an amazing singer, but he really didn't write his own stuff. Sinatra, same thing.
No, well, Elvis stole. Sinatra acquired things.
Well, Sinatra showed up in the studio and he sang songs people wrote for him.
He said, "Hey, if you don't let me sing this song, I'm going to have some friends from the docks come on over."
So he signed it's kind of sad, and he but if you want to get Sam Cooke and you want to hear him at his best, you should pick up or download an album called One Night Stand Live at the Harlem Square, and it is the greatest live album you'll ever hear.
Wow.
I
think I've never heard a live track from him before.
Oh, dude, it's so good. He I just love because you can hear his energy, and the documentary makes the case that the reason they didn't put it out till in 1985 is because it was too black. I don't know. But he is playing to an all black audience, and they're it's really great, and you should really pick it up.
Yeah.
I think you can download it on iTunes. It's $5.99.
Oh shoot, I'll do that tonight.
Yeah, you should. And because there's a part where he's introduced and he comes down. And he's like, "Don't fight it, you gotta feel it." And then the whole band starts amping up, and it's so good.
God.
And if you he does Bring It Home to Me on it, and it is it's stunning. And so watch the documentary. Sam Cooke is amazing. It's horrible what happened to him,
right?
And either way, because someone who is an activist and helping people, and because he wanted to start a label with just black performers to get them a share, because back then the music guys were like, "Oh, we own your music," so he wanted them to own their music.
Yeah, it's not unlike other people who attempt a collective, like. I mean, one of the more famous examples that I can think of off the top of my head is Coppola making American Zoetrope, and that didn't work. But, I mean, I admire that Cooke tried to do that for black artists, because it's, the music industry was ruthless back in the day.
Oh, yeah, no, and really mean to African-American performers. It's really sobering, and it's sad, but at the same it's a really mixed emotions, because they start with the murder, and then they kind of trace his steps backwards.
Kind of intertwine the timeline
Yeah,
a little bit.
and you just see this man who's so talented, and it's just the whole thing is sad.
Yeah.
No matter which way you slice it.
Yeah.
But I love Sam Cooke, and if you want to get live at the Harlem Square, and all his recordings, if you get at iTunes right now, you can download The Man Who Invented Soul. It's $24, and it has 99 tracks on it.
Jesus
I think
Christ.
it's all of his, and it's amazing.
That's a bargain.
Oh yeah. I watched a couple movies I missed last year. Lizzie, which is a Lizzie Borden film.
I've only heard a little bit about this.
So it's not horrible. It's a little slow.
Is Kristen Stewart in
Kristen
it?
Stewart is in it. She plays Maggie, the maid.
Right.
Chloe Sevigny,
Savini, yeah. Or Sevigny.
Sevigny,
Yeah.
plays Lizzie Borden.
Yeah.
And like the killings of Sam Cooke, it opens with some shots of the murder. Then it goes back in time.
40 whacks for the wet noodle part.
And it's interesting because it's like the OJ case where there's only one person who could have killed him, and
But everybody's trying to figure out if it's true.
yeah, but the jurors would never believe that a woman could commit such a heinous act. And there's a long there was a theory put forth that Lizzie Borden had an affair with Maggie, the maid, and that she was actually a lesbian, and back then it's frowned upon, and her dad was very demeaning to her. I'm busy. Wait, go play.
I wasn't wanting to hear Daddy.
Okay, we'll get it in a second. And so it takes a little bit going, but the acting is really good in it.
Yeah.
The directing's kind of boring.
Slow, kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the acting is really
So
great
I'll
in
like
it.
it.
So I would say you should watch it. I think I gave it 3.5 stars because it's building up to something. You know what it's building up to.
Right.
And the way they handled it is how a lot of true crime people have speculated how it went down. And it makes sense to me, a lot. I mean, I won't spoil it for you. But I mean, it's rated R. And, the whole time, is it really rated R? Because they just show these quick flashes at the beginning of, axe murders.
Yeah.
Nope. It's rated R for the murders that happen about an hour and 20 minutes into the movie.
Oh, shit. So they go full on.
Yeah. So it's pretty brutal.
I mean,
but-
not good. I don't like that people died, but
Meh.
I mean, if you're gonna do
it's
that, if you're gonna
130
do,
years ago.
Yeah, if you're gonna do. Oh, I'm sorry. They're all dead. It
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
yeah.
Everyone involved is dead.
So yeah, it's interesting, and they put forth an interesting narrative for it, which one that makes sense. So you should check it out. I got a Redbox. It's $1.50.
It's one of those true crime cases that I honestly know the least about.
It's really fascinating. I'm always fascinated with the Victorian ones. I'm really fascinated with Jack the Ripper
Yeah.
and Lizzie Borden because you read them and you're like, well, there can only really be one. Well, except Jack the Ripper was a little different. But you read the Lizzie Borden case, you go, this doesn't make any sense. And her stories never lined up at all.
Right.
It's really bizarre how because there's no way a woman could commit that. Anyways, so yeah, check it out
Also,
at Redbox. It's
also
cheap.
I know who Jack the Ripper was. It was
Yes.
Ian Holm, the movie From Hell.
That's
taught me
right.
that.
I watched
Hughes brothers.
James's favorite film from last year, Won't You Be My Neighbor,
Ooh.
which is good.
Did you cry?
Well, yeah. I mean,
I'm only human.
the scene where he sings with the little boy in the wheelchair is amazing.
Yeah.
And what I really liked about it is, they went through, too. They were talking about his scandals and stuff, and they're like, no, he's just a good dude.
Yeah.
And people try to tear him down, and there's some great behind the scenes footage that you wouldn't necessarily think, and him playing himself through the tiger puppet is.
Yeah.
So the movie's really well done.
It's something I didn't think about when I thought of Fred Rogers. The documentary, in that respect, is very enlightening in that respect. My favorite part of it, other than I think the foot in the pool thing, and also his whole story.
Yeah.
Because he's got a very interesting moment about coming out of the closet, but also Mr. Rogers reacting or his opinions about parodies on him. Which I thought one of the most fascinating tiniest sections of the film because they show
Yeah.
the clip from Family Guy of going like "Hello neighbor." Like,
Yeah.
it's just a funny moment, and the Mr. Robinson. I love Mr. Robinson.
Hi, kids.
Yeah, oh, an eviction notice from Mr. Landlord. Can you say scumbucket? I bet you can. But it's interesting to see that that man. It bothered him, but I mean, at the end of the day, what can you do? I have all rainbows.
Yes. Yeah. So great film.
Yeah.
Yeah. You should definitely see it. You can. I think it's on HBO, so you're able to watch if you have HBO.
Oh, sweet! They're giving me access to cry now.
Yeah. Another film I actually cried in is Love, Simon.
Henry had that.
Henry on his list. It's about another young man who is gay and he's struggling with coming out, and he starts this email relationship with another man who's also gay, and they kind of build up the courage through each other through correspondence, and they don't know each other. And so it's just his it deals with his relationships with that and his family, and Jennifer Garner and Josh Duhamel are amazing in it. Like there's
Duhamel gets redeemed.
yeah, so so it starts when he says, so they're opening presents, and this isn't spoilers because it's whatever. He tells his family at Christmas that he's gay. The dad gets mad and walks out. The mom doesn't know what to say, and then about 30 minutes later, they have a great speech with the mom, and then he sees his dad taking down Christmas lights, and the dad calls him over, and he says, why all these times I made these stupid jokes, and I just was like hurting you. And it's this really like great scene, and yeah. So I mean, I cried at that part.
Find this movie and watch it.
It's on HBO as well.
Oh, good.
The only thing I knocked it down for is I didn't like. They had the standard his friends got mad at him thing, for stuff he did. It just seemed a little like like piled on.
Right.
I just thought it was unnecessary, but I mean, still the performances are great. I do. Good job, buddy. The performances are great. I definitely recommend it. It's a good movie. And let me burn through my Cary Grants. The first one I watched was Kiss and Make Up, which is maybe his 5th or 6th film. And
this is one I've never heard of.
So
it's pre-code then.
So it's is it pre-code? It's 1934-5.
Oh.
I think it's on the cusp.
It's cusp.
So
did you see any boobs?
No.
Okay.
However, so in it he plays a doctor, and this doctor, he's a plastic surgeon.
Ooh, sexy doctor.
Right? And so he owns like this hedonistic place in New York where there's like women dressed in robes, and
how scandalous.
And he sells cream to make women beautiful. And he has
he's a medicine man.
Yes. He has a secretary that's actually in love with him, but she's just a little too plain Jane. And then this really unattractive woman comes in, and she says, "I want you to make me beautiful." So he sculpts in clay her face, and then she goes into surgery, and he takes off her wrappings like Joker from Batman.
Mirror. Mirror.
And she's stunning. Who is it? It's I forget her name, but
it's a platinum blonde or something.
Yeah, but nobody. So she so he ends up marrying this woman because she's so beautiful after her plastic surgery.
Oh my god.
And then they go on vacation, and then he finds out that he actually loves his secretary, and he comes back at the end and changes his ways. But they have lines in it that's saying "ugly is the plague of modern society."
Oh, that's going to be on my tombstone.
Yeah, it's really, in a way, it's charming, but at the same time, you go, wow, this is a little,
this is very much, hey, Uggos, get the fuck out.
Yeah, it's very not aged well.
Listen, if you are not sculpted out of pure gold and like Adonis-like structured features, you get the fuck out.
Totally.
America.
And I also watched The Talk of the Town, which is a George Stevens film.
Yeah.
With he stars in it with what's her name? Jean.
Is it Jean Arthur?
Yes, she's really great in it.
Mm-hmm.
In it, he plays again. I love when he kind of plays against type. He plays a man accused of arson, and he burns down like a local factory, and then someone dies in it. So he's on the run, and he stays at her house, and he meets. So he's an anarchist, and he meets this. Yeah, this.
Like you do.
Yeah. So he meets this judge who's going to stay at this house, and he's, well, the law is the law. And then they have dinners and lunches together, and they're great scenes because it's them like arguing over philosophy, and it's also a screwball comedy at the same time. So it's actually one of my favorite one of his films right now, because it goes through drama to screwball to like kind of like detective stuff.
Yeah.
You got to figure out who really burned down
Right.
because Cary Grant didn't burn down the clothes factory.
No. He may be an anarchist, but he's not an asshole.
Exactly. So he escapes from jail, and so everyone says, well, why would he escape if he wasn't guilty? So there's actually great scenes with him just talking to this professor guy.
Nice.
So definitely check out Talk of the Town. It's on Amazon Prime.
And it's a George Stevens film, so you will get you'll get some keen direction to watch.
Oh yeah, it's 2 hours, but moves really fast.
Yeah. Watch Giant. That doesn't move fast, but it's great.
And the last thing I watched is Cary Grant was first nominated for an Oscar for Penny Serenade, which it's like the most manipulative movie I've watched, but it's also like brilliant. And I cried like 3 times in it. Have you seen this film?
Once, and you're right. It's melodrama up the wazoo.
Yeah. In it, Cary Grant plays I don't know really what he is before, but damn it, she's in Irene Dunn. I love Irene Dunn.
Yeah.
So she's in a music store, and she has him buy records, and there's this really cute scene where he buys tons of records. He goes home and he wants to listen to him, but he doesn't have a record player, so she invites him upstairs. He ends up asking her to marry him, and they do, and he's going to Tokyo because he's a reporter. So he's a reporter, and he's going to Tokyo.
Yeah.
And she gets on the train with him, and they have sex with the door closing.
Oh, I'm sorry. You mean the camera pans away?
No, it just follows the door close.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
No, this is Anyway, keep going.
So she gets off the train, and then he sends for her in a little bit, and you find out she's pregnant, and then there's an earthquake, and she miscarries, and the doctor says you can never have a baby. And then, it's sad, and then they decide they're going to adopt one. And the first time I cried is, so they want a boy, but the only baby they have is this little girl. And so the adoption people hand her to Irene Dunn, and Cary Grant is, I only want a boy. And then the little baby grabs his finger, and an amazing thing with him. And so cried at that part. And then after a year, his newspaper business went out, and so he has no income. So he has to go to the judge, and the judge isn't going to let him keep the child he wanted to adopt. And he gives this amazing speech about why he's more of a father than anyone will ever be to this young girl.
Right.
And I'm like, oh my God. And that's one of those scenes that, like Gregory Peck in the courtroom in To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah.
It's like, that's his Oscar scene.
Yeah.
This was Cary Grant's Oscar scene.
Yeah. That's his clip, if they had a clip back then.
Exactly. And I was just like, oh my gosh.
Penny Serenade is a film that it gets mentioned a lot in those radio shows I like within the period that it's released and whatnot. So you hear the name being bandied about, and you read it in books because Cary Grant's in it. It's one of those films that I don't love it, but I get why it was popular. I get why it got the nomination, but it's not what I'm gonna revisit all the time. Because you're right, it is manipulative.
I really liked it, and then it got me again because. Is that spoilers for a movie that's 80 years old?
No.
Just kidding. So, he ends up loving Trina, and she ends up staying after he does that huge speech, and he comes home with her, and there's a great scene with them together. And it's really shot really cool because Irene Dunn keeps on listening to different music, so she'll put a record on, and then it'll spin around, and it'll cut to a new scene. So it's like, a story of their life.
Which is a fun editing trick that I enjoyed.
And so he brings Trina home, and they're all happy again, and then it cuts to her flipping through the music, and she's crying, and you're like, what the fuck is going on here? So she puts another record on, and she writes a letter to I forget the lady's name who adopted the child to him, but Trina dies from an illness, and Cary Grant then becomes an asshole. It's really sad, and you're like, oh my God, this is horrible. And the ending is that, I think that's maybe my only problem with the film, is the ending is really meh.
Who's the guy who created This Is Us and like Dan Fogel, whatever his name is?
Sure.
This is probably like the movie he watches on a loop.
Because at the end, he gets a phone call from the adoption agency after she received the letter from Irene Dunn informing her that their Trina passed away after getting sick.
Right.
And she says, "You'll never believe we have a little boy, 2 years old, just as you described him."
Oh, wow.
And then they're happy again. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that's weird.
This is all flooding back to me now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, the movie is stunning. The acting is amazing. I love Irene Dunn. I really do.
She's great in a lot of flicks.
Oh, I mean, she's in The Awful Truth. She's amazing. And then she's My Favorite Wife. Amazing.
Yeah, she's got I like her look.
Yeah.
Like
it's classic, like classic beauty.
Yeah, and it's not one that I can pin as generic compared to other actresses.
agree.
Like, I'll be honest, sometimes I mix up Betty Davis and Joan Crawford.
Sure.
Which I know, a sin, but yeah, no, right on. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was fun.
Also, I love the idea of spoiling 80-year-old movies. Like, spoiler alert, Ilsa gets on the plane and leaves Rick. Spoiler, the sled was
Well, she was going to get on that plane or another one.
Spoilers, Rosebud was the sled. I do like that Peter Griffin joke. He's like, it's his sled. It was his sled when he was a kid. There, I just saved you 2 long boobless hours.
Cool. That's why I watched. Yeah, sorry, there's a lot. Just catching up.
No worries.
This week, I saw Happy Death Day to You.
Okay, Ryan, should people see Happy Death Day to You?
Yes, with the caveat that you absolutely have to see Happy Death Day 1.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
They do a recap in it.
But it probably doesn't do as much justice as Experience.
Because there's a bunch of characters in it that you really need to know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you should see it. And here's a trailer for Happy Death Day to You.
Dude. Ow. I am tripping right now. I feel like I've totally lived through this day already.
Deja vu?
Yes.
The day reset when you died, right?
Yeah.
I might be able to help with that. I died 11 times. I was stuck reliving the same day over and over again until someone wearing a baby mask murdered me on the night of my birthday. Turns out it was my roommate, Lori. I kicked her crazy ass out a window and killed her, which broke the loop. But now I'm living the better version of my life.
You okay?
No.
Oh, hey, you're up. I folded your pants for you.
No way.
Dude, did you hit that or what?
I don't believe this. It's Monday the 18th again.
Go.
Stop global warming.
Go. Go.
Same day, same day.
Go, Charlie. It's your birthday.
I thought it ended the loop, but I'm back. Oh my God. Everything's different. This time, it's coming after all of us.
If you don't reset the day and try again, they're dead for good, aren't they?
So I'm gonna have to die over and over again to save all of you.
I mean, I guess you could just reset the day yourself.
Genius idea.
Okay,
Okay, let's do this.
They like me, I want them to love me like they love pop.
If I don't stop the killer, more people will die. Failure's not an option.
Focus, man. My money on my mind. Got a meal out the deal, and I'm still on the grind. Now, shorty says,
I'm literally dying to figure this out.
a girl from Wooded, they buy, and they ready to go.
Oh, hey, you're up.
I'm so done.
My flow, my show brought me to
I am on borrowed time here.
brought me all my fancy things.
What the
My crib, my car, my clothes, my
All right, let's see what you got.
came up, and I ain't came.
We're in crisis mode, Tree. Who's gonna pledge Kappa now that we have a death curse?
So, I know you said you wouldn't spoil it, but I mean, honestly, if you want to, I don't care because I'll go see the movie anyway.
Well, I will say this. So you saw Happy Death Day.
Yeah.
And there's a part in Happy Death Day when the one bitchy sorority head lady
Danielle
comes in and she says these rolling blackouts have been happening for like 2 weeks. So you find out that it's the science guys have created this machine that is like placing people in a loop.
Okay.
And you find this out because the film opens with the Asian kid. I think his name's Ryan.
Who keeps saying
yeah,
that?
nice vagina.
God.
So it opens with him.
I love how she by the way, from the first one, I love how she keeps finding a different way to say fuck you to him. In that, oh God, yeah.
So she, so it opens with him getting out of his car and going through like the same thing she went through, but it's the second day, so it is the next day.
Yeah.
And then he leaves and he goes to his science experiment, and then he's killed by the babyface killer.
Okay.
So then it starts back over with him again, and he's explaining it to Tree, and she gets all mad that he's stuck in this loop. So they go down to his science area, and he accidentally splits Tree off into a different reality.
Oh, wow.
And so she's stuck in a reality, and her conundrum comes from her mom's alive in this reality.
Oh.
So does she go back to one where her mom's dead?
Right.
Or does she stay in this one where her mom's alive? And it's an interesting play because she's conflicted because her boyfriend or dude she likes.
What's his
I
name?
forget his name.
Movie? It's not Nick.
Anyways, so he's dating Danielle in this alternate universe.
Right.
And so she has to make a choice. Do I go back to this guy? I can't remember his name.
I know he had a Mystery Science Theater 3000 poster on his wall.
Or do I stay in the one where my mom's alive?
Right.
And
which is a big part of the first film, or her emotional arc in the first film is tied to her family.
Like there is a great emotional part in it. She oscillates between the two decisions, and the decision she ultimately makes maybe won't work out for her either. So there's a great thing where she says, you know, I don't know, I didn't have these memories with my mom because her mom's been dead. 1 minute. And you know, so it's really fascinating.
One thing that, because this actually ties to the review aspect for you. Watching the first Happy Death Day, like what I was amazed by, honestly, was the way they were able to kind of hold that story together without it falling apart on itself. Like, because this whole concept is so easy to just stumble like crazy in the woods, and I think they do a great job of holding it together and keeping it entertaining.
Oh yeah,
they're able to satirize a lot of current social issues, while at the same time having so much fun. And the biggest accomplishment for me in the first one, and I hope it carries off in the second one, is that those characters, even the ones like even Danielle, who I hate and whatnot, I was like, I would want to see more of them.
Yeah,
I do care about
so
them.
in the alternate dimension, Danielle is really nice. And she wants to be an actress. It's pretty funny.
I liked I liked at the end of the first one, she's like but trying to give her a poison cupcake? How stupid. We're Kappas. We don't eat cupcakes. I just started laughing. Like, it's like that Mean Girls thing where the dialogue is so ridiculous that I just can't help but laugh.
I don't pause. I got to take a pie.
What's up, Real Nerds? Zach here, interrupting this portion of the show. One, because at this point in the recording, Ryan had to go upstairs to attend to something. And second of all, we forgot to introduce Catching the Classics with Corinne, which was new this week. Mainly because we recorded before we got the recording, so it slipped our minds. We apologize to Corinne, who's been an immense devotee and contributor to the show. So with that, we're going to put the Catching the Classics with Corinne segment in here since there was a lull in the natural recording. So enjoy her review of It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World, Stanley Kramer classic. Hope you enjoy.
Hi nerds, Corinne here for part 14 of Catching the Classics, where I watch famous and popular movies I've never seen before and send in my reviews. This week, it's a mad, 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 mad world. And I think it's kind of funny that I'm talking about this as I'm driving back to Colorado from visiting my family in Kansas. I was planning to have my mom join me in talking about it, but unfortunately there were some technical difficulties and I lost the recording, so I apologize to everybody, because now you just have to deal with my gross voice because I'm getting over some cold or whatever. But, so it's Mad World. I didn't know too much about it. I knew it was like kind of this car race movie sort of thing. I remember watching Rat Race as a kid, and I do believe that Rat Race is kind of a remake of It's a Mad World. And on the whole, kind of didn't really care for it. It was just really long. I will say, I mean, there were some funny parts to it, and there were some things about it that I enjoyed. I think the performances were pretty good. I like props to everybody for the stunt work in this movie is pretty, like, especially for the 60s, like, it's really, really good stunt work. I think they do a good job of, like, I like the premise. I like the way that you get introduced to all the characters, and you get to see, like, okay, you have, like, the initial the five guys who go down to talk to the dying dude, and then you have, like, their people who were in the cars with them, and then you see, like, these other people who kind of get added along as the race, starts inadvertently, I guess. It's a race, but it's not really a race. Not like a formal race, at least. But it is, it's just a really long movie. Like, I think it was almost 3 hours, or it was like 2 hours, 45 minutes. And yeah, I know there's like the intermission and the overture and stuff, but even outside of that, I think it's at least an hour or 2 hours and 30 minutes. But I think you could have cut out, like, I don't know, 45 minutes or an hour of it, and it would have been just fine. I know movies back then tended to be longer in this kind of grand and epic thing, but yeah, I think you can make it shorter. It's fine. Yeah, I think that was the biggest problem for me, was that certain things would happen and they might have been, like, interesting or funny initially, but then it just kind of goes on for too long. One thing that, like, stood out to me was the scene where the truck driver, he wakes up in the garage, and the two guys think he's, like, a psycho, and so they're trying to, like, stop him, and he's chasing them around the garage, and they keep wrecking all of this stuff. And eventually, like, little by little, like, all the stuff in the garage, like, falls over. And then at the end, you see the, like, the plywood that the place is built out of, it all falls onto the ground. And, like, yeah, it was, like, a funny concept. And I did like the way it was executed at the very end. But you probably could have shortened that scene, and it would have been better, in my opinion. So, so my mom actually recorded it as part of this double header that Turner Classic Movies was doing. That this was the first movie, and then they showed The Great Race afterward, which is also I think it was also in the 60s, and it's also a movie about a car race, although a more formal race instead of an informal one. And I grew up on The Great Race, and I really like that movie. And I think it's a much better movie than It's a Mad World. Oh, I forgot to say, the other thing that really bugged me about It's a Mad World is the female characters and the way that they're treated. The mother-in-law is just a giant bitch, and I wanted to strangle her the whole time. And I know, like, that's the point, but it was just so over the top, and it was like every scene she was in, she was just loud and annoying. Like, there's no break. There's no break from it at all, unless, she's just not in the scene. But then the way that the other ones are treated, I mean, the two wives are just, well, the one whose mother is there, she kind of has a little bit of a personality. That moment there in the state park where she's talking to the police captain, and she's like, hey, I know where it is, and, like, I don't even care. And, that was actually kind of a nice moment. But the other one, the one who was like married to the dentist or something, she had no personality, and she was just, I mean, you could have replaced her with a sack of potatoes and it probably would have been more interesting. And I think initially there was that scene very early on, like I think when we're first introduced to the police captain, where he like asked the female deputy or whatever to go get him a thing of coffee, and she gets up and he like, there's this shot of like him looking at her ass and this like funny music plays, and I'm like, really? I know the 60s were kind of a different time, but oh my gosh, this is one instance where I'm like, The Great Race is a much better movie in this instance because its female characters have agency, they have personality, they're actually like funny, and I mean maybe annoying occasionally, but annoying in like a funny way, not annoying in a I want to strangle you and then myself sort of way. And yes, it's also about car chases, and yes, there's a lot of shenanigans that go on in The Great Race, but I think that movie, it keeps the plot going, and they're usually not in any location for more than like 20 minutes. You know, once the race starts, they are like, the plot is moving and grooving. You're not lingering around in a freaking, you know, hardware store basement for 30 minutes while everybody tries everything to, you know, get in and get out. And anyway, so I mean, maybe I would watch it again someday, but I would have the remote handy to fast forward through stuff because It's a Mad, 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 Mad World is about an hour too long, in my opinion. So I'm gonna give it I don't know, 2.5 or 3 stars out of 5. Wasn't my favorite. Everybody just go watch The Great Race instead, because it's much better. Yay! So next week I'm going to be tackling 16 Candles. Well,
thanks, Corinne. We enjoyed your review of It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World. Now, let's get back to the review of Happy Death Day to You, already in progress.
And anyway, that's why Ryan's a jerk. Oh, hey, Ryan!
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
There's going to be a fight in the parking lot.
No, your mom made like a really beautiful arrangement for my wife.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
No, she appreciates you guys coming down, and also she likes to get rid of flowers.
No, I'll take him. Anytime she wants to give them to me, I'll take him and take credit for it.
So anyway, so Danielle's nice in this new
Yes.
one, yeah.
And there's this one leans a little more in comedy.
Which I kind of figured they'd have to if they were going to keep the premise going.
Yeah.
Because, like, the one thing I will say about the first film that I wasn't, like, it didn't bother me. I was just kind of, like, meh on it was, like, the horror, since it's PG-13, the horror element of it, or the slasher element of it is, like, obviously weak sauce.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be anything intense anyway.
You know, I thought that when I watched it, the first one, too, because that was my big turnoff of it. I said, you know, a PG-13 slasher film is...
I did like the death in the car where the car blows up.
Yeah.
Because it's shot beautifully to where you just see her confronting him with the mask, and it does a good job of not revealing that the baby face killer was stabbing the car. To leak the gas.
So no, it's like the movie is really, and it's fun. Like if you like the first one, you'll really like this one. I mean, I really liked it.
Does it set up a third one?
Yeah.
Okay.
There is a credit after credit scene. I guess mid credit.
Does Sam Jackson ask Babyface Killer to join the Avengers?
Yes, he's. There was a time when all the serial killers would get together.
Oh my God! It's just Michael, Jason, and Freddy at the helicarrier desk. Flying monkeys! I understood that reference, Michael.
But yeah, that's fun. If you're a fan of the first one, I'd say go see it.
Sweet, right on. Blumhouse doing it again, man.
Yeah,
Kicking
always.
ass. I don't know if you know this. They made Halloween and Get Out.
They did.
Two of the greatest movies ever made. And S, which will come out in March, and I'll love it probably.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
The reason I didn't get to see it is because I was going to go last night, and we got hit by a massive snowstorm overnight in Denver, and in order for me to get out to Uber, I would have waited 25 minutes just to get accepted for a ride. So that's why I watched High Flying Bird instead. But I will see Happy Death Day 2 at some point.
Yeah, I'd go see it.
Cool.
Next week on Real Nerds, we're actually doing a 1989 film explosion.
Oh, shit.
So send us in your thanks. There's a lot of good movies that year.
Oh, God. Like, I'm not going to lie. I've been looking at the releases. It's probably going to be my favorite list we've done from the 80s section.
Yeah, it'll be fun. So send us your lists.
Yeah, send us your list to realnerds@gmail.com. You can hit it up on Facebook. Our Instagram is also a good place to put it out there. I mean,
anywhere you put it. And I start putting it out earlier because one of the feedback we got is we don't give enough time for people to send in their lists.
Well, now we are, so you have no excuses this time, boys and girls.
Buddy.
Cool. And then after that, though, it's Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Be good times.
Right on. Well, I guess until next week.
Yep. I'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Real Nerds Podcast. Real Nerds Podcast is a production of Nebulous Visions Multimedia. Thank you to Sparks Mandrill and Plan 9 Studios for our kick-ass theme song. Also, if you're in the Denver area and you're looking for a cool place to see movies, we see them at the Alamo Draft House in Littleton and now also in Sloan's Lake. Thank you to Colorado Coins, Cards, and Comics for supplying us with all our comic needs, especially you, Andrew. You know who you are. And a big shout out to James's mom. I'm giving you an electronic hug that you can feel through the airwaves. Thanks for listening, and have a nice day.